When making hiring decisions, the two main principles are that the best predictor of an individual's future behavior is what that individual has done in the past, and to collect as much reliable and valid data as economically feasible. Personality characteristics and behavioral tendencies are acquired over an extended period of time and typically do not change radically. People who are honest, committed, and dedicated in their previous employment will most likely continue to be honest, committed, and dedicated in a new job. But the only way to figure this out is to conduct the background checks, call the references, and interview the candidate. The selection process is a sequential procedure involving some or all of the steps illustrated on this slide. Each step in the process is treated as a hurdle that screens the number of employees advancing to the next step. To survive the process and be placed in the job, an applicant must successfully pass each hurdle. Each step in the selection process should be designed to obtain useful information for making a hiring decision. The order of the steps in the application process should be determined by a cost-benefit analysis, with the most costly and subjective steps taking place at the end of the process when fewer applicants remain in the pool. Organizations need to track job applicants as they move through the steps of the application process. For small organizations, a paper file system may be adequate. Larger organizations, however, often need more sophisticated recruitment management and applicant tracking systems. Organizations can build custom computer software or purchase recruitment and applicant tracking software from a vendor. Web-based applications that use cloud storage are also available. Reliability refers to the consistency of measurement or repeatability. The reliability of a measuring instrument is estimated by different types of tests: test-retest reliability, alternative forms reliability, split halves reliability, and conspect or inter-rater reliability. These testing procedures are referred to as operational definitions. After a selection procedure has been tested for reliability, it can then be tested for validity. Validity refers to the extent to which a predictor variable, for example, the selection test, is correlated with a criterion variable, such as success on the job. The 5 methods of validating a selection procedures are predictive validity, concurrent validity, content validity, construct validity, and synthetic validity. Predictive and concurrent validity are done by comparing the results from predictor data, such as selection tests and educational and experience requirements, with criteria data, such as job performance and success. Whether you collect the information at the time of hire and then during job performance, or all at the same time with current employees, the higher the correlation, the better suited the selection criteria is for the job. Any selection procedure that has an adverse impact on the hiring of protected individuals is discriminatory, unless it has been validated according to the procedures described in the Uniform Guidelines on Employer Selection Procedures. The Uniform Guidelines allows validation based on criterion, content, or construct. A weighted application blank is developed by correlating each piece of information from the application with a performance criterion. Specific information from the application is used to determine a score for each applicant, which indicates whether the applicant will be a successful performer. This helps to eliminate much of the bias in this selection procedure. The basic procedure consists of the 7 steps listed on this slide. The EEOC cautions employers about obtaining certain information, such as marital status, language skills, arrest or conviction records, and economic status, unless they can demonstrate a true business necessity. Unless properly demonstrated, these items have no bearing on whether or not the applicant will be able to properly perform the requirements of the job. Employment interviews are generally unreliable and therefore they do not provide valid information. However, there are other reasons for conducting employment interviews, including to obtain information about the applicant, to sell the company, to provide information about the organization, and to establish friendship. There are different types of interviews that should be used for specific reasons, such as stress interviews and group interviews. However, with the use of any type of interview, the more structured it is, the more reliable and valid the information gained will be. Time should go into selecting the right types of interviews to use when selecting for various positions. Carefully selected personnel tests can significantly improve the selection process for many jobs. They provide objective and standardized measures of such human characteristics as aptitude, interests, abilities, and personalities. If the characteristics being measured are important to successful job performance, personnel tests represent a valuable selection device. Two of the most extensive collections of commercially available tests are Tests in Print and the Mental Measurements Yearbook, which include tests for various topics. There are 2 cases that helped shape how selection testing is done properly. After the Supreme Court decided in Griggs versus Duke Power Company that selection procedures such as tests that exclude a disproportionate number of minority employees are illegal when the employer cannot demonstrate that the procedure was related to the safe and efficient operation of the company, many organizations simply stopped utilizing their criteria when hiring. However, after Washington versus Davis, the Supreme Court affirmed the legality of tests as long as they are valid, even if they disqualify a disproportionately larger percent of one ethnic group. The Supreme Court endorsed the use of this exam since it was shown that test scores successfully predicted performance in the training program. An assessment center is one of the most powerful methods for identifying management potential. It is typically used when a group of applicants is being considered for hiring or promotion into management positions. Applicants participate in a series of activities that usually occur over a period of 2 or 3 days. Assessment centers have generally been excellent predictors of job performance because the activities included in them are usually designed to replicate the activities and responsibilities of the actual job. An expectancy chart illustrates the percentage of employees in a given predictor category that are successful in the specific job. This helps visualize the types of selection methods available and which would produce the best candidates for the job. Before employers make a selection decision, companies should investigate the backgrounds of their prospective employees. Background investigation reference checks may include an investigation of previous employment, educational credentials, criminal activities, credit reports, and general character. Typically, potential employees at higher levels of the organization will receive more extensive background investigations. Medical examinations, including physical examinations and drug testing, need to be handled with strict confidentiality. Medical information is considered private information, and it should not be communicated to anyone who does not have a legitimate need to know. When deciding which selection criteria should be used, the costs of using a predictor should be weighed against the benefits expected from it. The three factors that determine the benefits obtained by a new predictor variable are selection ratio, which is how many applicants are hired for the job, validity coefficient, which is the correlational coefficient between the predictor and the criteria, and base rate of success, which is the percentage of employees that would be considered successful if they were hired at random without the use of the new predictor. Once the candidate has been selected, a formal job offer needs to be created. The employment agreement or offer letter should describe the starting salary, expected start date, company benefits, any prerequisites that must be completed prior to employment, an at-will statement, and any other terms and conditions of employment. It is important to include that this is the full offer and that no other written or verbal promise that is not included in the agreement is being offered at this time. The potential employee should be given a couple of days to accept or reject the offer, and their signature and return of the signed offer letter completes the selection process. Once the applicant has been selected and has accepted the job offer, the new hire orientation will be their first exposure to the company as a whole. The orientation should include the introduction to the company, completion of all their new hire paperwork, benefits and compensation information, administrative procedures, review of key policies, and introductions and a site tour.